Good afternoon and welcome back to Bowl TV for the opening round of C Squad qualifying at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters taking place at Samstown in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Matt Cannizzaro bringing you wire-to-wire coverage of the 2016 Senior Masters. We've already had two squads in the books today so far to kick off their opening round. We'll get you a recap of how they've done, as well as a look at our featured players here to start game number one. These are 5-game blocks. All competitors will compete in 3 5-game blocks over the course of 3 days, which seems to make sense off of all that I just said. So yeah. 15 games of qualifying to determine the top 63 players to join defending champion Amleto Monacelli in the double elimination match play bracket. We'll go from 64 all the way down to 5 to get to our stepladder finals taking place Sunday, June 26th. After those games are all said and done, we'll know our champion here. Prize fund of more than $131,000, $16,000 of that going to the bowler who can make their way through. So sit tight, relax, put your feet up, get ready for 5 more games. Some of the top players age 50 and older taking their crack at the coveted Senior Masters title. It all starts here on Bowl TV. Thanks again for joining. We'll get you a recap and a rundown in just a moment.
cruising along here. C Squad on the lanes. Samstown Bowling Center, USBC Senior Masters. The man to beat right now, Parker Bowden III, the left-hander, at plus 258. Averaged 251.6 for his 5 games on the fresh earlier this morning. Ernie Segura getting close. On B Squad, Johnny Petraglia having a big finish as well. Parker leading overall, plus 258. Petraglia moved into second place, the final game of the day, at plus 224. And Segura, plus 205. Eric Forkel, plus 198. And Mike Edwards, at plus 164. Rounding out the top 5. So far, looks like a nice day to be left-handed. We'll see as we progress through the event. Again, got ourselves a 40-foot oil pattern, a little bit heavier volume at 28.84 mils. Needs to hold up for 15 games. No re-oil at all. So they're fresh to start at 8 a.m. And we've got the burn, and now this is the double burn. I'm sure Aaron Smith gave you some of the details, if not all of them already, as he's plugging away, sharing the news of the USBC Women's Championships, also taking place in Las Vegas right now. Down the street at South Point Bowling Plaza. That event entering its final 3 weeks, along with the USBC Mixed.
Well, Matt, we know each other so well that you know that I promised the good people of Bowl TV land that I was going to give them a rundown. I hadn't yet, so you filled in that role perfectly. If you're feeling overly helpful, would you like to introduce our players?
All right, let's give it our best shot here, based on some name shirts and the scoreboards right now. Easy one, John Welsian stepping up on lane 19, the Floridian, a top senior player, has had success on the big stage at the Open Championships and now trying to make things happen at the Senior Masters. Also, we have Gregory Jackson and Kurt Wagner. And on our right-hand pair, we'll get to our final bowler on 19 and 20 in just a minute. On the right-hand pair, Eddie Graham. About to step up on lane 21. And he's joined by Scott Hansel-Farrell and Mr. McCreary. So a couple familiar names and a couple looking for some Bowl TV glory here. Our featured pairs at Samstown Bowling Center, 19 and 20. 21 and 22. We've been here all day and we'll be here all week long. 3 exciting days of qualifying at this year's USBC Senior Masters. A recent change in the format has all competitors bowling 15 games over 3 days. Used to be everybody bowls 10, and we cut to the top 25%. This way, everyone has a chance all the way through. At the conclusion of 15 games, the top 63 competitors will join defending champion Amleto Monacelli in the double-elimination match play bracket, where 3-game matches will be bowled to see who advances based on total pinfall. And if you ask any competitor who takes the lead at the Senior Masters or the regular Masters, the Queens or the Senior Queens, basically 2 tournaments in one, where all you have to do is survive qualifying. Doesn't really matter where you finish in that top 64. Chances are you're going to be up against somebody who's pretty talented. And I would imagine being at the top half of the bracket is probably good for the confidence, but at that point, pretty even playing field. It's you and your opponent on a single pair of lanes and doing battle. So we've seen crazy things happen, one losing to number 64 and so on. But getting there is the first goal for the week. Not too many bowlers too worried about where they end up in the 64. Just glad to be there. Glad to be taking home a prize check guaranteed at that point. We'll have 66 prize checks this week. 4 Senior Masters and then some additional Super Senior prize checks for our players 60 and older. So a lot of opportunities to get some money. And then once you get to the top 64, it's a brand new ball game. And once you get there, you take what you learned throughout the week and you put it all together. Head-to-head matches. If you're interested in following your favorite players across the bowling center here, and it is a big center at 56 lanes. You can check out the live scoring. Just go to bowl.com/seniormasters and click on the 2016 results. You see a link to the live scoring here at Samstown. We're doing that right now, as a matter of fact. A few pairs away on 27 and 28 string of strikes. Keep an eye on that, and a few others developing across the house. Have not seen a 300 yet today. But certainly possible with the caliber of talent here. And your tournament leader, Parker Bone III at plus 258, averaging more than 251. 5 games on the fresh this morning. Parker will be back at this time slot tomorrow, 4 p.m. double burn. And then back on Thursday in the middle squad. So if you want to follow your players and how they're doing, check out the results. Right there with the live scoring on the Senior Masters page. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat room for us. Because Aaron Smith is a wealth of information.
I don't know if it's good information, but it's information.
Jim Murdershaw. Front 7, lane 28 right now. Buried it. You can see that one from here. 10 back for the front 8. Gets one more. I will take a walk. Pairs to our left, Robert Reed with the front 7 on 11 and 12. So kind of coming in, not really sure which squad was going to be the one that crushed him. I don't know that many expected it to be on the fresh. Parker Bone plus 258, but some big games to start here on our double burn squad. Aaron Smith, a lot of strikes on this final squad of the day, so looks like we might be kind of busy as things unfold. Murdershaw now at the front 9.
One pair to our right. Andrew Newer, 6 in a row. He'll be up for number 7 on 23 in a moment, so you'll get to see him get to the line and get to see the result.
Robert Reed stepping up on lane 11, front 7. Yeah, it looks like his run is done. So we will turn our attention now
Murdershaw is heading up. So that's once again over on lane 28. Here at Samstown. Make it 10.
Before I go, Mr. Smith, for what it's worth, Andrew Nauer is a USBC record holder for career 300 games at 180. Let that sink in for a minute. I believe one season recently, he had 39 300s and 48 hundreds. So maybe we'll see one here at the USBC Senior Masters.
Certainly could be. Now we're up to 7 in a row. Here's Jim Murdishaw. One shot away now, delivered in the 11th as well. Looking for the first perfect game at the 2016 Senior Masters. On our featured pairs, Mark McCreary getting ready to step up. 9th frame, looking to make it 3 in a row. Murdishaw up on the approach. Looks like a perfect game. Jim Murdishaw kicking off C Squad here at the 2016 Senior Masters. What a start. Good way to get to plus 100. Easiest way to get to plus 100. Just throw them all. Question in the chat, is Pete Weber bowling the tournament? Yes. This squad? No. Pete was on A squad, so he's already competed for the day. Through 2 rounds, Pete sitting fairly well. Was 10th, coming in at plus 136. Although with some of the big numbers that appear to be happening in C Squad, probably going to drop a few. Jim Murdishaw from Menifee, California, conducting on all 12 shots in game 1. Andrew Nauer still doing his thing on lanes 23 and 24. 8 in a row. He'll be up for number 9 in a moment. We'll let you know when he's making his way towards the foul line. We'll be able to see him get to the line and the result. Nice shot from Eddie Graham. Get to 216 here. Double burn. Here for C Squad, last squad of the day. Got to have a lot of games on it, but didn't necessarily see players too far left during B Squad, which just wrapped up about an hour and a half ago. It's not getting too crazy out there. No, haven't seen anyone loft in the gutter or getting into 6th arrow just yet. Nauer's string of strikes ends at 8. We left the 2-4-7-8 on lane 23. Left-hander, no problem on the spare. Still get to 276. So report Chris Warren starting off with 9 consecutive strikes. He'll be up in the 10th in just a moment. So C Squad already keeping Matt pretty busy. .215 for Eddie Graham to kick off his 2016 Senior Masters. Mark McCreary can still get to .219. Gregory Jackson over on 19 and 20. Still has 240s available with a few more strikes in a row. Same could be said for Kurt Bogner. Working on 3 strikes in a row, getting ready for his 9th frame. He'll be stepping up in a second. Kurt trips the 4. In business, setting up the foundation frame. Looks like Chris Warren got at least the first strike in the 10th. Over on lanes 35 and 36. Matt Cannizzaro back on the scene, so Mr. Warren appears to not have finished the deal, but still going to be off to at least a 280 pace. Looks like left a 9 count, second shot of the 10th.
Yep, Chris Warren, the swish 7. It was wiggling pretty good. Could have gone down, but did not. So conversion there give him 289. Definitely getting our exercise in here early on C Squad. Answers a lot of questions about where the big scores are going to be, at least so far.
Wasting no time getting going on 21 and 22 for game 2 of C Squad. Terry Leon kicking things off, also on this pair. Robert Reed, who started with 257. Stoney Baker. Also on the pair, started with 229. Looks like Chuck Richardson will be our final competitor on 21 and 22. John Waltzian, 211. in the books. Gregory Jackson and Kurt Bogner. Still thinking 240s here. Kurt gets the first. Jackson looking to get to 222. Wagner with the conversion, 229. Make that 228. So Mr. Cannizzaro, you got to see it up close and personal. Jim Murdishaw delivering the tournament's first perfect game. Any insight to that moment? It was just business as usual.
Business as usual, trying to find a good spot to get a video here at Samstown, and well, we'll see how it turned out. It's up on Facebook now if you want to check it out. The Sport of Bowling USBC. Ball's about 2 feet taller. We've got Murdishaw's final offering for the 300. And a look at the scoreboard. It's 12 strikes in a row, so not too exciting there, but what a heck of a way to start the USBC Senior Masters with 12 consecutive strikes. Our first of the event. And a whole bunch of close calls here into game number 1. 4 games to go.
Our competitors for lanes 19 and 20 appear to be all set to go as well, so looks like they're ready to kick things off. Tom Carter, very familiar name in the sport. He's stepping up first on lane 20. He'll be joined by Bruce Lamb and Jimmy Pritz.
Big scores on game number 1. It's like really 10 players. High 240s or above. Trying to track down Parker Bowden III, who leads at plus 258. 251 average. 5 games. A little bit of excitement down on 11 and 12. Eddie Graham and Mark McCurry both started this game with the front 6. Eddie Graham got the 7th. McCurry has missed. Chip Akey, assistant tournament director this week, giving us the heads up on all the strings of strikes here at Samstown Bowling Center. Game 2, C squad.
Looks like McCurry has missed. Eddie Graham still going. Did you just say that? I'm sorry, Matt.
I might have, but for the folks who don't listen to me,
Like me?
like you, an opportunity to get the heads up again. John Donovan down on 3 and 4. Had the front 7. He has 9 counted as well. So all of a sudden, we went from talking about getting started on a Parker Bone story to 300 watch 2016 here at the Senior Masters.
Definitely some exciting times. Looks like Eddie Graham connected for number 8. Once again, that's on 11 and 12. Wild and wacky stuff in the Senior Masters. Wouldn't have it any other way. Jim Murdishaw now 1 pair to our left. Started with a strike. And 2 boring 9 spares for him. Just got to see Eddie Graham in game number 1 here on Bowl TV, and he's up to 9 in a row. Matt Cannizzaro up and at it again. C Squad looking to put up some numbers, put themselves in position to make a run at the top 63 for the double elimination match play portion. No matter what your strength is out here, odds are you'll have a block to exploit it and hopefully put up some big numbers. Getting to see this 40-foot pattern in different stages. Definitely saw some big scores on the fresh. As we mentioned a few times already, Parker Bone taking care of business, averaging more than 251 to get to plus 258. So 1 or 2 players threaten that number in the B squad. No one quite got all the way there. Johnny Petraglia and Ernie Segura, plus 224 and plus 205. They sit second and third overall after 2 squads. Total of 3 players better than plus 200 after 5 games. Definitely looking to change here. The final block. As a reminder, we'll be back tomorrow. Have the exact same schedule, just different bowlers out on the lanes at different times. Looks like Eddie Graham is up to 11 in a row. Matt Cannizzaro attempting his best stealth effort to capture the video. Working around bowling bags and competitors. All right, we're going to have 300 attempt at number 2, Eddie Graham. Way down on 11 and 12. Sounds like he left a 10 pin for 299. I see a 9 count up there just based off of our angle. That would be my best guess. Great run for Eddie in game 2. Strikes a little bit harder to come by here on our feature pairs. 19, 20, 21, and 22. right, got the cameras fixed. One of our competitors here not realizing how sensitive the table was that we're set up on here behind lanes 19 through 22. Nice shot there by Jimmy Pritz. Set up the 10th frame with the double. Get to 215. All of our competitors in 1920 working on a double. Bruce Lamb max at 225 and lead the way. Leaves the 610 to kick things off. After the missed single pin in the 9th frame, Terry Leong and his max dropped to 216. He's going to kick off his 10th frame on 22. Bob Reed delivers his first shot of the 10th. Can still get to 173 in a big first game, but he's going to lose some pins here. Bruce Lamb gets to 202. $189 with the conversion for Tom Carter after he started with 279. Definitely did not have as much fun on 19 and 20 as he would have liked, especially after that big start, but still going to be at plus 68 after 2. You got 3 strikes late to get to there. Great shot from Jimmy Pritz to kick off his 10th. 205 still available. Just a reminder, you can find out scores, roster, schedule, live scoring, and more at bowl.com/Senior Masters. If you don't feel like typing all that in, you can just go to bowl.com, click on the Tournaments tab up at the top. Go down to Senior, select a Senior Masters, and that'll get you there too. .162 finish for Bob Reed, a .206 for Terry Leong. Stoney Baker converts the 10 pin, can get the 202. That would put him at +31, +6 for Leong, +19 for Bob Reed. Jimmy Pritz finishes up 204. He's at +27. So I've seen a lot of folks plus already. Chuck Richardson going to get to plus with some good count here. Baker 202, final shot, game 2, C squad opening round. Chuck Richardson gets to 220 on the nose. That'll put him at -1 after 2. We're in the books here on Bowl TV. 3 more to go today. Question in the chat. Mike Durbin and Mike Albee not on the roster for the 2016 Senior Masters. Once again, you can visit bowl.com/Senior Masters to find out roster information, standings, lane conditions, schedule, live scoring, and more. So we'll be back for game number 3 in just a moment. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Matt Cannizzaro. Big thanks everyone for joining us here. We'll have wire-to-wire coverage of the 2016 Senior Masters right here on Bowl TV. Don't go too far. Game 3 coming up next. Strikes starting to pile up here in Game 3, the opening round of qualifying for C Squad here at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters. We've already seen A and B Squad today, so some pretty big numbers, but we've already had a 300 and 299 the first 2 games. Here for C Squad, so who's going to be next? Will it be Kevin Croucher, currently on a 21 and 22, stepping up, looking to make it 7 in a row. He's joined by Diz Francisco and Rafe Terry. Philip Menke, Daniel Miyamoto, currently up on 19 and 20, joined by Peter Knopp and Pete Thomas. Pete, of course, part of the Artistic Expressions group. That won the team title at the USBC Open Championships in 2014. We do have scores through 2 online. Here's John Donovan leading the way on C Squad through 2, plus 115. Eddie Graham with the 299, plus 114. Jim Murdishaw, who had the 300, is at plus 105. Chris Warren, plus 89. Mark McCreary, plus 85. Noel Vasquez, who won last week on the PBA 50 Tour, his first national title, plus 81. It's also what Kevin Croucher's at. Left a 4-pin in the 8th frame, so his run of strikes to start Game 3 is over. Here's Terry up on 21. Finds some trouble in the 8th frame. Had been 6 out of 7 to that point. Now looking at the 4-6-10. Kevin Croucher bounces back with a strike after seeing his string of strikes end at 7. Still get to 279 this game. I put him at a big 760 for his opening three games. It would be within striking range of Parker Bone III heading into the final two. Thomas unable to saw the nickel out. Peter Knopp putting on a show here in game 3 after a spare in the first. Taking care of business ever since. Peter joining us all the way from Germany. Finished third at the Senior Masters in 2010, along with a 9th place finish in 2012. Still looking for that first PBA 50 Tour title. Keeps throwing shots like that. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with this week. As Miyamoto makes it 4 in a row. Menke playing the lanes much more direct than we're seeing a lot of players at this point on the double burn. That shot though left the target off his hand. Now looking at a 3.610 to pick up. Rafe Terry can still get into the 240s. With another strike. Pete Thomas leaning on the 10. Kevin Croucher finishes up with a nice 258. Gave us some excitement with 7 strikes in a row to kick things off for game 3. He's at 739, so it's again right around that that Parker pace, if you will. One pair to our left, Hugh Miller, looking to put together a nice game. Started with a double and opened in the 3rd and hasn't missed since. They're about ready to start the 10th frame over there. Hugh will finish up on lane 18. Nice 244. Rafe Terry gets him back on the right side of plus. Gets him to 609. This Francisco can finish up game 3 with 2 more. Give him to 196. That would put him at 549 for his 3 games. Big thanks to everyone for joining us throughout the day here on Bowl TV, even if it was just for a few minutes or if you've been here all day. We do appreciate the support, as do these top senior players. Chris Cundiff checking in from Northwest Indiana, saying hello, so welcome, Chris. We'll see you next week. Great shots here from Peter. Thinking 260s this game. 269 still available. Just taking care of business out here. Pete did not like that one off his hand, and the result showed. Still looking for that first double here in game 3. Thomas was at 449 for his first 2, 226 and 223. Get to 219 this game if he can figure out the last 4. Daniel Miyamoto looking for a big finish here after the early miscue. Putting it on cruise control here in the back half of game 3. Daniel joining us from Pearl City, Hawaii. It's at 424 after 2. After 5 out of 6 to start, Philip Menke. Having some trouble here in the back half of game 3. Open in the 9th frame. Can still get to 219 though. Once again, trying to play the lanes a little bit more direct. I see most of the players have migrated a little bit to the left. They're right-handers. Philip will be plus after 3 games, however. Can add another 20 onto that, get to 629. Nice, 235 for Daniel Miyamoto. He's at 659. Through his 3 games. Miscue there for Philip, loses chance at a few extra pins. 199, he's at plus 19. Great shot from Peter. Now in the 250s. One more gets him into 260s. Pete Thomas capitalizing on the crossover strike to kick off the 10th. Now get to 208 with one more. Kick that 10 out, Peter. 260s for Knopp. .206 for Pete Thomas. He's at plus 55 through 3. And a very nice 269 game for Peter Knopp. Also finds himself at plus 55. So game 3 in the books. Game 4 of C Squad qualifying here at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters. Coming up next, I'm Aaron Smith alongside Matt Cannizzaro, who appears to be dreaming about In-N-Out Burger at the moment. But we'll be right back here on Bowl TV. Games 4 and 5 coming up next here at Sam's Town in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks again for stopping by. Game 4 coming up next. Game 4 underway, and that resounding strike on lane 20, courtesy of John Donovan. He is our C Squad leader through 3 games after firing a 760. After the split in the first, back-to-back jacks for Donovan, joining us today from Melbourne, Florida. Also on our pair, Gary Ray and Michael Hastings. Over on 21 and 22, we have Joe Beck, who cleans up the single pin. Scott Greiner, Warren Eels, and William Medina. Scores are updated online after 3 games. As we mentioned, we have our C Squad leader bowling on lanes 19 and 20, John Donovan, plus 160 for his 3 games, 247, 268, and 245 to get there. Only halfway through game 4, but still has 258 out there. Also high up in the standings, Kevin Croucher, who we saw shoot 258. He's at 739. Chris Warren made a run at 300 in the opener. He's at 716. Jim Murdishaw, who did bowl 300 in the opener, he's at 711 plus 111. Andy Newer plus 104. Noel Vasquez, last week's winner on the PBA 52 plus 103. Marv Sargent plus 88. Rich Abood plus 77. Darren Peters plus 74. So just a few of the names from C Squad doing well overall. Norm Duke, 1 pair to our left. Some struggles out of the gate for the Hall of Famer. 212, 207, 160. He's at 579. So Norm on the wrong side of plus, but 4 out of 5 strikes to start game 4. John Donovan wanting that interview with Matt Cannizzaro at the end of the day, throwing some fantastic shots throughout the day. That's what happens when you average more than 250 anywhere, especially in a challenging condition like this. Double burn, you never know what you're going to get. John Donovan making light work of it so far. Mr. Cannizzaro, I believe you have some first-hand experience of seeing John put on performances like this.
Well, we do go back to the Sunshine State as a young professional for me back in Florida, and a few recent trips I've seen John throw a whole lot of strikes. And once he gets locked in, it's very machine-like, very good at repeating shots. There's a terrific carry percentage, just something about the way the ball hits the pocket. Always seems to be in the mix, so now that he's 50 plus, quickly making a name for himself. We've seen him bowl well at a few senior events and pretty active on the Florida bowling circuit now, and say that the flat 7 didn't like it off his hand. Seemed to rush that one a little bit. And just trying to stay composed. Still a long way to go. We mentioned earlier, Parker Bone, glad to get out of the gate as strong as he did. But all these guys know it's all about getting to the top 64 and then brand new day. So if you can get out early and fast and get a nice little cushion, it's always helpful. And for the rest of the week, for this C squad, you know, double burn, not really going to be a factor, especially during match play. Not going to have quite as much traffic as these lanes have seen throughout the day today. So, you know, maybe for Donovan, getting all he can now, fantastic. But if this is his strength, won't get a chance to see the lanes open up like this, I would imagine, the rest of the way. But we'll see what kind of game plan he's got for tomorrow and then the rest of the way. So it should be interesting. A lot of note taking, I'm sure. But right now, John keeping it pretty light in the settee area, having a good time. And when you're 160 over after 3 games, arm swing probably pretty loose. You know, much different feel, I think, to this this whole environment. Whereas, let's say it was the U.S. Open or a normal event where you want to get all you can because you're going to be the top qualifier, and then you're going to need those pins down the road, you know, add on to it during match play or whatever the format is. Here, again, just a little bit different. The goal, get to the top 64, and then all the pins go away. So no matter whether you're number 1 or 64, you're on an even playing field come match play.
During our B squad, we had Parker Bone III, as you mentioned, our tournament leader, the gentleman who everyone here is chasing at the moment. Join us here on Bowl TV. And even though Parker got off to the big start, and as you mentioned, you know, really outside of his one block on the double burn, which will be tomorrow, don't necessarily know when you'll need to go back and catch up to that and remember what happened on it. Parker said, a lot of left-handers out here, a lot of good left-handers. I'll be floating around here seeing what they're doing, trying to get to the pocket after seeing a few games. Of course, the right-handers probably not as far left as folks would expect overall for being on the double burn. You don't see a lot of guys getting into 5th or 6th arrow. So really don't know if the lefties are seeing any of that transition from the right-handers getting into their laydown spot. I can certainly understand what you've seen before with Mr. Donovan. Being able to throw a lot of strikes. Definitely a powerful strike ball that gentleman throws. Doesn't have to worry about too many weak 7s, I would imagine.
Definitely spends a lot of time in and around the pocket. If he's going to leave anything, it's probably going to be just a 7. Except for that first frame, getting to this pair. Sometimes that happens as well. Get the split and then quick adjustment. Able to string a couple strikes here. Looking for a big finish in the 10th. And the light mixer. 10 won't go. So he's going to have some work to do still, even with the huge start in game number 5. Needed to be 100 over for the last 2. .217 max score here. It's going to take a big performance in the finale.
Tough finish for Gary Ray. Back-to-back single pin misses to finish with 190. He's -6 through 4. Michael Hastings can still get to 190. He's already plus. Great shot to kick off the 10th. John Donovan showing the love, appreciating the nice shot. Final shot for Donovan. 217 with a strike. Call it 216 and a half. He's at plus 176. So off to a great start here to his 2016 event. Scott Greiner was working on 3 strikes in a row. Left 3 up though in his attempt for 4 in a row in the 8th frame. Looking at the 2-4-7 now. No problem on the spare. Warren Eels playing through 8 with a pair of doubles. Thinking 230s here with a few more strikes. Joe Beck, 5 out of the last 6, including 3 in a row after the open in the 5th. He's getting ready on 21. I mentioned it. Norm Duke, -21 to enter game 4. Can strike out to get to 257 this game. So he'll be back on the correct side of plus. Nice shot there from Beck. Warren's going to kick off our 10th frame here, 21 and 22. Does it the right way with a big strike. Joe Beck gets the nudge on the 10. He's working on 5 in a row now. 2 more gets him to 245. Eels finishes up with a 210. Nice 234 for Joe Beck. Warren's now at plus 19 for Joe, plus 27 overall for his 4 games. Scott Greiner. Going to be above the 200 mark, 212. He'll be at plus 52 overall. Rough game for William Medina, however, 135. He's going to have some ground to make up in his final 11 games. All right, folks, one game to go before Bowl TV turns off the lights and calls it a night for the opening round of the USBC Senior Masters here in 2016. Game 5 coming up next. So as soon as our competitors make their way, they'll go ahead and get started. About one to go. Here on Bowl TV, I'm Aaron Smith alongside Matt Cannizzaro. Big thanks again to everyone for joining us here. We're going to take a quick station identification. Don't go too far. Game 5 coming up next at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters. For our 5th and final game of C Squad, as well as our final game of the opening day of qualifying here at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters, now underway here on lanes 19 through 22, as well as the rest of the house. Leading the way for C Squad, we just got to see him last game. John Donovan, 976. Closest competitor on the squad, Marv Sargent. He's plus 136 overall. Chris Warren is plus 130. Only a few other players plus 100 or better after 4. So after the blazing start with some real big numbers, scoring pace has slowed down a little bit. So it appears Donovan is the only player who's going to be able to catch Parker Bone III at the top of the standings with 1 to go. Otherwise, the Hall of Famer will be pacing the field through the first day. I think one of the interesting parts about that, and talking to Parker earlier today, practice session didn't go necessarily, should say went bad, but he saw some things in the later squads that made him kind of go into today with an open mind and being willing to try a few things instead of being steadfast with what he originally had planned, and that ended up obviously working pretty well, Mr. Cannizzaro.
Well, it's a Hall of Famer doing Hall of Fame things, Mr. Smith, and you got to be versatile and open-minded. He was quick to point that out. A lot of times, bowlers will go into the practice session and get locked into something, and you just try it and try it and try it the next day, and if it doesn't work, probably too late by that point. But for most, I think practice session a good opportunity to get acclimated to the environment, the approaches, kind of get a feel for the house, maybe get an idea of how the house plays from one end to the other, and compared to one pair to another, rather than actually trying to get completely lined up and locked into a game plan that way. And it paid off today for Parker, just keeping an eye on what other people are doing, at least to start, and trying a few different things, having options, and then going with the one that you feel is going to get you the highest score, and he did that. But John Donovan not giving up yet. He's got the front 4 down on 29 and 30. And he's going to need every bit of it. He's at plus 176. And Parker plus 258. So no room for Mr. Donovan.
Sounds like front 10 would be the number. Let's take a look at some of our competitors here on our featured pair as we wrap things up. We just saw a great shot by Darren Peters after making the right adjustments after Creek Church to start. He's joined by Chris Warren, just throwing sticks around everywhere. Chris made a run at perfection earlier in the day, finished with 289 in the day's opening game for C Squad. Chris Warren, the 1990 USBC Masters champion. So now that he is north of 50, looking to add one of those to his collection. Also on the pair, Randy Scharf, getting ready to bowl up on lane 20. Their fourth, Mike Keogh. On 21 and 22, Don Lane looking for a strike in the 6th frame on 21. Gets it. John Perry hoping to close out the 4-7 up on 22. Their third, Edgar Aguilar. So these will be our final bowlers for the day. Last chance to tough hit there for Warren. Hoping for the mixer, leaves the 5-7. Well, Mr. Canizaro, we talked about John Donovan not having a lot of room. If he wants on to lead the opening round of the 2016 USBC Senior Masters. Essentially needed the front 10. Well, he's 2 strikes away now, 8 in a row.
He gave me a hard time earlier. That first game when we had the 300 and 299 or 298, or everything was happening. There were strikes everywhere. He had the front 8 at one point down on lanes 3 and 4, and gave me a hard time about not being there to capture all that on video for the world to see, and kept promising me that it was going to be interview time. So we will see. That's coming up. He was joking around about disappointing us on the live stream pair.
It's true. He actually said sorry into the microphone. If anyone caught that at the end of game 4, that was John for his ho-hum 217.
Yep. After coming out 160 over, just didn't carry very well on our featured pair. Maybe a little nervous under the TV lights, but I apologize. And all day long, been waiting for me to show up. He's 1 strike away from me walking down there. It's on the lane, and he shredded the rack. Not a doubt from here. So John Donovan, front 9, 1 more. And it's interview time, and Chris Warren excited by the whole thing as well. Drops his ball behind the foul line and slowly rolls down the lane. Chris 130 over with 1 game to go. Probably more embarrassed than anything at that one. And with that, we'll let him shake off that miscue, and I will head down and do what I do.
All right, excellent work, Mr. Cannizzaro. John Donovan, 1 strike away from being your opening round leader at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters. We'll let you know when John's up, and we'll give you the report all the way from lanes 29, 30 behind. Seeing we're about 5 pairs away. Nice shot there by John Perry, delivering the double to set up the 10th. Darren Peters looking pretty good here in game number 5. That Greek Church's start, 5 out of 6 since then. It's been looking good. All right, John Donovan, a few pairs to our right. He's up in the 10th frame. And it appears his string of strikes is over. Looks like he might have gassed that one. I think he might have left a washout. Covers it though, so he's going to be in the 270s. Unfortunately, just going to be a tad bit short of catching Parker Bone the third. So PB3, Bowen on the fresh, leads the entire field. 262 other competitors could not match on fresh, burn, or double burn. Here on day one. Late trip of the 7, Darren Peters. Getting the big hits here down the stretch. Still can shoot 257 here. The pride of Temecula, California. Darren Peters looking for the big finish here. It's already plus. Rest of this all bonus, gets to add on to it. Put himself in good position for the rest of the way. Chris Warren getting a hit back after having that miscue a few frames ago. Shot there by Randy, but unable to kick out the 10. John Perry, nice 227. He's plus 92. Giving himself a solid first block here at the Senior Masters. Don Lane finishes up with 160. He's going to have his work cut out for him the next 2 days. Minus at 159. Mike Keogh delivering in the foundation frame. Let's look at the 213. Peters getting in, wheeling and dealing, but unable to have that one make it all the way back. Leaves just the 2. Just a few more shots here before our broadcast is all said and done today. It's been fun for sure. We'll look forward to another exciting day here on Bull TV tomorrow. Round 2 for A, B, and C squads. They're going to be in a slightly different order, though, once again, so competitors will have the opportunity to see the fresh, the burn, and the double burn. For tomorrow, B squad will lead things off for us starting at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. They'll be followed by these competitors right here on C squad. So they work their way down from double burn, burn to fresh. And then for the A squad, they'll be on the double burn, so they'll go from fresh, skip over the burn, save that for the final day. So B, C, A, the squad order tomorrow. 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. Eastern. So we certainly hope everyone can join us for this amazing event. More than 260 of the top players age 50 and older from across the globe joining us here in Las Vegas at Sam's Town. By the time we get to Sunday, we'll know our top 5, and by the end of Sunday, we'll have a champion crowned here. Definitely a lot to look forward to, since we're just in day number 1. Matt Cannizzaro back from partying with John Donovan.
It was a good time down there. Again, we go way back to our Florida days, and always nice to see a friend bowl well. The 10th frame, he had no idea what he needed to take the lead, or wasn't too worried about it. Again, it's a long format, and the goal just to make the top 64. But a pretty cool side story that you might read more about on bowl.com later today. John Donovan and Parker Bone III are rooming together this week.
How about that?
At the Senior Masters, and we joked around a little bit about, now that Parker was the high guy, does John have to sleep on the couch, and Parker gets the bed, or is there a dinner bed or something fun there? And he's pretty starstruck too a little bit. The opportunity to cross with Parker a couple times in recent weeks, and really learn from the Hall of Famer as he kind of gets settled in, out here on the PBA 50 tour and at these big events, and came in with smaller goals, to be 50, 60 over maybe, just based on the look and practice, and something clicked today where he saw the folks bowling earlier in the day, was able to get in his comfort zone, and clearly that worked out with some big scores and the huge 272 finish. We had the front 9, of course, needed the 10th one to take the lead, and missed the headpin twice. Wash out, wash out. So he's pretty excited about the overall performance, not too upset about losing to Parker and being number 2, 10 pins back going into tomorrow. So pretty good head start for the 15 games. Can't be upset about that. And we'll get started on the news here in a minute. And we'll have an update for you in total scores on bowl.com later today. So with that, Mr. Smith, I'm going to step aside and get to typing, and we'll get moving. We got a big TV show to get ready for as well. The PWBA Storm Sacramento Open coming up on CBS Sports Network tonight at 10 Eastern. So hopefully we can catch that maybe in the sports book, get our work done here, get that out to the world as well. Just a pretty exciting day, and Chris Warren trying to make an exciting finish after dropping that one off his foot earlier. And we've got our final 2 shots, and I will let you close it out, Mr. Smith.
All right, thanks, Matt. Great job as always. Once again, we'll have a recap on bowl.com later tonight. Final few shots here. Chris Warren up first. He's made a nice bounce back, looking for 6 in a row. Make it 8, 213. He's at plus 143 for the day. Darren Peters gets to plus 114. Mike Keogh plus 66. So all of our competitors here on 1920 on the right side of plus. Randy Scharf finishes up 217. He'll be at plus 9. So there we have it. 15 games in the books here on Bowl TV. So big thanks to everyone for joining us throughout the day. We had our tournament leader, Parker Bone III, join us for a little bit during the B squad. So big thanks to Parker for taking the time out, chatting with us here on Bowl TV for the 2016 USBC Senior Masters. But that's going to do it for today's broadcast. So on behalf of Matt Cannizzaro, big thanks once again to Parker Bone III. I'm Aaron Smith, signing off. We'll be back tomorrow for round 2, B squad leading off 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. local time here in Las Vegas. So everybody have a great rest of the evening. Be sure to check out the PWBA on CBS Sports Network starting in about 10 minutes. And we'll see you tomorrow morning here on Bowl TV. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.